Imagine waking up tomorrow. Beat. The house is just completely quiet.
Best part of the day.
Right. You grab your coffee, you sit down at your laptop, and before you've even touched the keyboard, your day is already entirely structured.
Sounds like a dream, honestly.
It does, right? Your AI has already read your emails, it parsed your schedule, it mapped out your exact priorities for the morning. The cognitive load of wondering where to start is it's gone.
Yeah, totally eliminated.
So welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are looking at what I think is a massive paradigm shift in how we actually work.
Absolutely massive.
We are dissecting ChatGPT Work. So this is OpenAI's direct answer to Claude Cowork.
And it's a fundamental architectural shift. I mean, we're moving completely past simple chat windows here.
Right.
OpenAI is building an automated multi-step workspace now. They clearly do not want to stay on the sidelines anymore.
Yeah, they really don't. But I have to admit something right up front here.
Oh boy, what's that?
I still wrestle with prompt drift myself.
Oh yeah, everybody does.
I mean, I find myself explaining the exact same context to the AI every single morning, and it just gets exhausting.
So repetitive.
Have you end up wasting so much time just setting the stage for it to do its job?
Yeah, and that friction is exactly why people abandon these tools. The setup cost, it often kills the actual utility.
Exactly.
But that is exactly what this new release solves. So today, we're going to explore how to move from those single prompt chatbots to a fully automated workspace.
Right.
We're going to test a real morning briefing. We'll build permanent reusable structures called skills.
Right, and then we put it all on autopilot with scheduled tasks.
Exactly.
But to really automate our day, we first have to understand the foundation. Like, we have to understand how this new workspace actually functions.
Well, let's look at the old model first. Standard chat is purely reactive.
Right, waiting for you.
Yeah, you ask a simple question, it gives a simple answer, and when you close the window, it just forgets everything.
Blank slate.
Exactly. But ChatGPT Work is totally different. It's an actual persistent workspace. It holds context across complex, multi-step goals.
And context just means the background memory the AI relies on.
Precisely. And it gathers that context from a few very specific places.
Okay, like where?
Well, first, you choose an underlying model. Then you open or create a dedicated project. You upload your core reference files to that project. You define your custom instructions. And finally, you directly connect external apps.
Right, so a project is basically a walled garden.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
It keeps your related chats and reference files bundled together, so it stops the AI from wandering off topic.
Yeah, it creates strict boundaries. It really anchors the AI's attention on the task at hand.
It's kind of like giving a new assistant a permanent, dedicated desk.
I like that analogy.
You have all your files already open for them on the desk. The sticky notes stay exactly where you left them yesterday. You aren't forcing them to relearn your entire business from scratch every morning.
That is a great way to visualize it, because you literally set up this workspace before you send a single prompt.
Right.
And once the desk is set up, the outputs change dramatically. It doesn't just casually chat with you anymore.
No, it generates actual complex deliverables.
Exactly.
It builds comprehensive briefings. It writes full multi-page documents. It structures messy data into clean spreadsheets. It can even build presentations and interactive sites.
Yeah, and you can track its progress while it works. It operates much more like an agent now. You can answer its clarifying questions. You can pivot its direction midway through a task. You can even approve critical actions before it takes them.
But here's the technical friction point for me. If it is managing these massive deliverables, how does it not lose the thread?
What do you mean?
Well, standard chat usually forgets the first page by the time you reach page 10.
Yeah.
So how does it manage complex deliverables compared to standard chat?
Ah, right. It comes back to that project structure. Because the project bundles your related chats and specific files together, it constantly grounds the AI.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's forced to reference those specific guardrails over and over. It prevents the model from pulling in generalized, irrelevant internet data.
So it builds complete documents, not just isolated chat bubbles.
Yeah.
Beat.
Precisely. It changes the entire dynamic of the interaction. You're managing a process, not just firing off random queries into the void.
Okay, so the desk is set up. We understand the workspace. Now, let's look at a practical, high-value test case.
The fun stuff.
Yeah, we need to wrangle the daily morning chaos. And the guide we're looking at suggests building a morning briefing.
Which is honestly the ultimate test for this architecture.
Right.
Because you're asking the AI to juggle multiple live data streams.
Right.
So you start by connecting Gmail and Google Calendar directly to the workspace.
Okay, but this is where I want to push back a little on these tools.
Okay. What's the sticking point for you?
I just see a massive flaw in how most people use AI for emails.
Which is?
AI naturally wants to summarize absolutely everything it touches.
Oh, yeah. Always.
If you give it 50 emails, it proudly gives you a 50 bullet point list. That isn't helpful.
Not at all.
A summarized messy inbox is still just a messy inbox. It is completely overwhelming.
That is a very common trap. And it's exactly why the initial prompt structure is so critical here.
Right.
You do not ask it to summarize. You explicitly instruct it to filter. You have to be absolutely ruthless with your instructions.
Yeah, the guide says you have to define strict priorities first. You don't just walk up and say, read my email. You tell it, my priorities today are content planning, team feedback, and urgent client deadlines.
Right. You are giving it a specific lens to look through. You're kind of stacking Lego blocks of data.
Yeah.
First, you set the calendar context. Then you apply that priority lens to the inbox.
You literally command it to ignore the noise.
Exactly.
You tell it to explicitly ignore newsletters, ignore promotional offers, ignore routine platform updates.
Yep.
If an item doesn't require my physical action today, do not include it.
And it has to justify why an email made the final cut. For every single item it shows you, it must provide one clear next step.
Ah, I love that.
That's the secret sauce.
Yeah.
It forces the AI to act as a gatekeeper, not just a passive reader.
Okay, so after you lock in those instructions, you run the briefing prompt. You tell it to check the connected Gmail and calendar. You ask it to find important meetings and tight deadlines.
And you also ask it to flag any scheduling conflicts or missing context for upcoming meetings. It essentially highlights operational risks you need to know about right now.
That risk flagging is brilliant. It feels much more like a human project manager.
Yeah, it really does.
But let's be realistic for a second. What if the very first briefing it generates is still way too long?
Well, that happens frequently on the first run. The AI is still kind of calibrating to your definition of urgent.
Right, it doesn't know you yet.
Exactly. So when that happens, you just use a refinement prompt.
And you stay right in the same chat window for that.
You just reply and say, refine this output. Remove anything that doesn't strictly need a reply today. Use a cleaner layout.
Okay.
And it recalculates based on the new friction.
You just command it to strictly cut the fluff beat.
Exactly. You iterate until the format perfectly matches how your own brain processes information.
But this brings us to the next massive bottleneck.
Okay, what's that?
The morning briefing works perfectly today, but tomorrow morning, when I wake up, I have to type out that massive, carefully worded prompt all over again.
Yeah.
The friction is still there. Refining a prompt every single morning is tedious.
Oh, it's totally unsustainable.
Right.
Nobody will stick with a tool if they have to write a paragraph of rules every single day.
Right. You'd just give up.
Exactly. So that is why we move to the next phase. We turn that perfect refined prompt into a permanent tool. We automate the process with skills.
And a skill is just a reusable set of instructions for a single type of task.
Yes.
You engineer the perfect prompt once, then you trigger it with a single click whenever you need it.
It completely eliminates the daily setup phase.
So how do we actually build one in the interface? Is it like a complex developer tool?
Not at all. It's incredibly accessible. You just open the plugins menu on the left sidebar, you switch to the Skills tab, you click the plus button, and you select Create with Chat.
Honestly, this mechanism is wild to me. It opens a new conversation, but you aren't talking to the standard AI.
Right.
You are talking to a builder agent. The AI literally helps you build the constraint system.
Yeah.
You don't write any code yourself at all.
Yeah, you just describe the workflow in plain English. You say, create a reusable skill called morning briefing. You tell it to always use your connected email and calendar. And then you feed it the exact filtering rules we just perfected.
Check for deadlines, find actionable emails, ignore the newsletters, rank the tasks by urgency.
Exactly. You even tell it exactly how to format the output. Like, always use 3 sections: today's schedule, top priorities, and risks.
You're permanently locking in your preferences. And here is a crucial architectural detail.
The AI actually takes your conversational description and translates it into code. It generates a file called skill.md in the background.
Let's clarify that real quick. A .md file is just a simple text document storing your instructions.
Right, but it acts as an immutable set of guardrails. It's not a fluid chat memory that changes.
Ah, I see.
It's a hard rulebook the AI must check against before executing the skill.
Whoa.
Imagine just typing one command and it instantly reads your calendar, sorts your inbox, and plans your day.
The amount of cognitive load that removes is just staggering.
It really is. It functions like a digital chief of staff.
You know, it reminds me of recording a macro on a complex spreadsheet.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, you do a tedious series of clicks once and you save it to a single button. But a spreadsheet macro only records rigid clicks.
Right.
This records reasoning parameters. It's basically a macro for cognitive tasks across entirely different apps.
That's a perfect distinction. It applies your logic, not just your clicks.
Right.
And when the builder finishes, it confirms the skill is installed. It gives you a direct trigger command. It usually starts with a $.
Like $morning dash briefing.
Exactly.
You just type that into the chat and it runs the whole process. But wait, you can still guide it, right? Like you can append specific context for that specific day.
Right. And that flexibility is key. You can type, use $morning briefing, but focus heavily on urgent content work today.
Oh, nice.
It adapts the daily output without breaking the underlying core skill.
But let me ask a highly practical question here.
Sure.
Systems break. APIs fail all the time. What happens if it simply cannot access Gmail or Google Calendar some morning?
Yeah.
Does it just panic and start guessing my schedule?
No, thankfully, the system handles connection failures gracefully. The skill is designed to run regardless.
Okay.
But if a data source is unreachable, it will explicitly mark those details as unverified. It tells you it couldn't connect.
It flags missing data instead of hallucinating.
Exactly. Hallucinating just means the AI invents false facts when it lacks real data.
Right, making things up.
Yeah, so by forcing it to flag missing sources, you eliminate that risk entirely. You just review the first few automated briefings to verify the connections are actually stable.
You check the dates. You check the meeting times. You make sure the emails it marked as urgent actually are urgent. And if it consistently misses something, you just update the skill.
Yep.
You tell the chat, update the morning briefing skill to limit the list to 5 items.
And it rewrites the underlying .md file in the background. You never have to start from scratch.
Which is huge. Once that skill proves reliable, you have an incredibly powerful tool. But we still haven't reached full automation yet.
Not quite.
We still have to manually type the trigger command every morning, so let's put this entirely on autopilot.
This is where we cross the final threshold. We make the tool run while you sleep. We use scheduled tasks.
Okay, so you locate the scheduled feature on the left sidebar. It's basically a dedicated management dashboard for repeated actions.
Yeah, you click Schedule a Task. It asks for the prompt you want to automate. And you simply enter your trigger command. Use $morning briefing to prepare my day.
Then you establish the cadence. You set the exact time and frequency. Like, run this every weekday morning at 8 a.m. local time.
And you really have to double-check your time zone settings here.
Oh, yeah.
Servers usually default to universal time. You definitely don't want your morning briefing triggering at 3 in the morning and summarizing the wrong day's emails.
That would be a mess. But once you confirm the schedule, you just wait. You open the workspace the next morning, and the result is already sitting there waiting for you.
Yep.
You review the prioritized emails. You verify the calendar sync worked.
And this right here is the fundamental shift in the technology.
I was just thinking about that. This totally flips the dynamic.
It really does.
It shifts the AI from being a reactive tool waiting for your input to a proactive partner. It has the heavy lifting done before you even sit down at your desk.
You transition from generating work to reviewing work. It changes your entire morning posture. But we do have to talk about maintenance.
Right?
Workflows naturally drift over time.
Yeah.
Your daily priorities are eventually going to change.
So what happens then? If the daily automated output starts getting sloppy or my goals change, do I have to tear down and rebuild the entire skill from scratch?
No, you don't touch the foundational skill at all. The underlying logic of how to read an email remains exactly the same.
Okay.
If the output drifts, you just adjust the scheduled prompt window. You add stricter daily rules to the trigger itself.
Like adding keep only the top 5 items and put client deadlines first.
Exactly.
Update the schedule prompt, keep the underlying skill intact. 2-sec silence.
Precisely. You tweak the daily trigger mechanism, but you leave the permanent tool alone. It keeps your overall workspace incredibly clean and easy to manage over the long term.
We're going to take a quick break for our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll look at the broader implications. We'll answer the final question. Is ChatGPT Work actually worth overhauling your entire routine for? We'll be right back.
All right, we are back.
All right, let's pull all of these threads together. We've mapped out the shift to the workspace. We tested the morning briefing filtering, we built reusable skills, and we put the whole thing on autopilot with scheduled tasks. So the source material ends by addressing a critical question. Is ChatGPT Work actually worth using?
The guide draws a very clear, practical dividing line here.
What is it?
It all depends on your current friction points.
Yeah.
If you only use AI for isolated questions, like writing a quick email or checking a line of code, you don't need this.
Right.
Just stick to the standard chat.
The standard chat is perfectly fine for quick, stateless queries.
Exactly.
But if your daily work requires managing context across multiple platforms, this changes everything. If you are constantly juggling files, cross-referencing emails, and checking calendars, you really need this architecture.
The defining value metric here is repeatability. If you execute a complex cognitive task more than twice a week, this system saves massive amounts of time.
Right, like daily stand-up summaries, weekly content planning, client meeting prep.
Yeah, the ultimate automation stack is clear. Context plus skills plus scheduled tasks equals total repeatability.
It drastically reduces the manual steps of your day. You aren't constantly copying and pasting data between tabs anymore.
It handles the tedious gathering and organizing phases perfectly.
Yeah.
But the material is very firm about one specific limitation.
What's that?
Human review remains absolutely essential.
Yeah, you cannot just blindly forward its outputs. You still have to review the logic.
Definitely.
And especially if the connected apps drop their sync overnight. The AI will flag the missing info, like we talked about, but you are ultimately responsible for the final deliverable.
Treat it like an incredibly fast, highly capable junior coworker. It is not a replacement for your own judgment.
Right.
You manage its focus. If you use it to anchor context and eliminate repetitive setup, the return on the time invested is just massive.
It truly is. So here's our call to action for you today. Do not try to automate your entire professional life by tomorrow morning.
Please don't.
That is just a recipe for overwhelming frustration. Pick just one single, annoying, highly repeatable daily task.
Maybe it's summarizing project tickets. Maybe it's drafting the morning stand-up agenda. Just build one specific skill for that one specific task. Let the AI handle the repetitive gathering phase, and just see how it changes your workflow.
Just experiment with the architecture. Because getting comfortable with these persistent workspaces now, it gives you a massive operational advantage later.
It absolutely does. It frees up your cognitive bandwidth for the actual deep, creative work that matters.
But it also leaves us with a deeper, slightly unsettling question.
Oh.
Think about that morning briefing running completely on autopilot. If your AI is independently reading your private emails, independently reading your emails, checking your calendar, evaluating your priorities, and structuring your tasks while you sleep, are you still managing your work? Or are you just managing the AI that does your work? Pete, thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.
We'll see you next time.